Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that today's video covers extremely sensitive and tragic events. If you're affected by gun violence or need support, please reach out to someone you trust or contact a crisis helpline. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. What you're about to hear are true stories of unimaginable tragedy, events that shattered countless lives in mere minutes and left scars that will never fully heal. These aren't just statistics. These are real people, mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, friends, innocent lives stolen in moments of senseless violence. I'm sharing these stories not for shock value, but because remembering is how we honor the victims. Understanding is how we work toward change, and awareness is how we protect future generations. If you believe these stories need to be heard, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Your support helps ensure these voices aren't forgotten. Now, let's begin. The Las Vegas shooting, October 1st, 2017. We begin with none other than the Las Vegas shooting. A night of celebration turned into unimaginable horror as thousands of bullets rained down on a crowd of innocent people. On October 1st, 2017, more than 22,000 people gathered on the Las Vegas Strip in Paradise, Nevada for the Route 91 Harvest Festival, a 3-day country music event meant for singing, dancing, and celebration. Thousands stood tightly packed together, enjoying what many would later describe as a dream concert. At 10:05 p.m., that dream turned into a nightmare. Without warning, loud, rapid popping noises erupted, overpowering the singer's voice on stage. In an instant, joyful cheers turned into shrieks of terror. At first, many tried to calm each other down, believing the sounds were fireworks or firecrackers. Videos from the event capture people shouting, "Don't worry, it's just fireworks." But it wasn't. Another burst of gunfire filled the air, this time impossible to ignore. Panic exploded across the venue. People shoved and sprinted in every direction as bodies began dropping to the ground. Injured victims screamed in agony, unable to move, while blood splattered onto those desperately trying to help. Some dragged lifeless bodies, searching for any sign of life. Reality hit hard. This was gunfire. Concertgoers dove behind barricades, walls, cars, anything that could offer protection. People threw themselves over loved ones to shield them from bullets. The terrifying part, no one knew where the shots were coming from. The gunfire seemed endless. More victims fell. Blood stained the ground. Dead bodies lay inside the venue, on nearby streets, and throughout surrounding areas. People faced an impossible choice: stay with wounded loved ones or save themselves. Police arrived within minutes, but they were met with total chaos. They knew no more than the victims did. Unsure of the shooter's location, officers acted as paramedics, helping the injured while desperately trying to understand the situation. At 10:15 p.m., after more than 1,000 rounds fired, the shooting finally stopped. The attack left 58 people dead immediately, with 2 more later dying from complications. 413 people were injured by gunfire, and 867 others suffered injuries while escaping the chaos. But the story wasn't over. The gunman, Stephen Paddock. The shooter was 64-year-old Stephen Paddock, a quiet man from Mesquite, Nevada, described by family as nonviolent and reserved. Security footage revealed chilling details. In the days leading up to the attack, Paddock was seen gambling, laughing, and enjoying his stay at the Mandalay Bay Hotel. But the footage also showed him hauling suitcase after suitcase to his room on the 32nd floor, making multiple elevator trips. Those suitcases contained 24 firearms, mostly assault rifles, along with thousands of rounds of ammunition. Paddock barricaded himself inside 2 connecting rooms, rigged a food service cart with security cameras to monitor the hallway, and smashed out windows to gain a clear vantage point of the crowd below. At 10:05 p.m., he opened fire. When a security guard and building engineer approached the floor, Paddock saw them through his camera feed and fired down the hallway, wounding the guard. The location of the shooter was finally confirmed. At 11:20 p.m., after more than 1,000 rounds, the shooting finally stopped. October 1st, 2017 remains the deadliest mass shooting by a lone gunman in U.S. history. Next is the Orlando nightclub shooting. On June 12, 2016, Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida was hosting Latin Night. Over 320 people, many from the LGBTQ+ community, packed the club for music, dancing, and celebration. At around 2 a.m., 29-year-old Omar Mateen arrived armed with a semi-automatic rifle and a Glock pistol. He entered the club unnoticed. Then he opened fire. Chaos erupted as bullets tore through the dance floor. People screamed, ran, hid, some locking themselves inside bathrooms to escape. Blood covered the floor. Bodies collapsed where they stood. Police engaged Mateen outside the building, but he retreated back inside and barricaded himself in a bathroom with hostages. One hostage, Eddie Justice, texted his mother, "Mommy, I love you." Shooting in club, trapped in bathroom. He later died. Mateen called 911 multiple times, pledging allegiance to ISIS and threatening bombs, claims later proven false. After hours of failed negotiations, SWAT breached the building using explosives and an armored vehicle. At 5:53 a.m., Mateen was killed in a final exchange of gunfire. The toll? 49 victims murdered, 58 injured, a community forever scarred. Finally, we turn to Sutherland Springs, Texas. On a quiet Sunday morning, 49 people gathered at First Baptist Church. Children, parents, grandparents, families worshiping together. At 11:20 a.m., a gunman dressed in black approached the church armed with an AR-15-style rifle. He killed 2 people outside, then walked inside. For 11 minutes, he fired more than 450 rounds, killing 26 people, including children and elderly victims. One victim was an unborn child. But this story also includes heroism. A neighbor, Stephen Williford, a firearms instructor, heard the shots. Barefoot and armed with his own AR-15 and just 8 bullets, he confronted the shooter, wounding him. With the help of Johnny Langendorf, the 2 men chased the gunman's vehicle at high speeds until the attacker crashed and died by suicide. The shooter was identified as Devin Kelly, a man with a history of domestic violence, information that should have barred him from owning firearms, but never was properly reported. This failure cost 26 lives. These tragedies should never have happened. But they did, and the pain they caused will echo through generations. Behind every number I shared today was a person with dreams, plans, and people who loved them. Parents who never came home, children who never grew up, friends whose laughter was silenced forever. These stories are difficult to hear, but they're even harder to forget, and we shouldn't forget them. We share these stories not to spread fear, but to spark awareness, to remind ourselves that change begins with understanding, that prevention starts with education, and awareness is how we protect future generations. If you believe these stories need to be heard, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Your support helps ensure these voices aren't forgotten. If you or someone you know has been affected by gun violence, please know that support is available. Organizations like Everytown for Gun Safety, Sandy Hook Promise, and the National Compassion Fund provide resources for victims and survivors. To every victim, every survivor, and every family forever changed by senseless violence, you are not forgotten. Your stories matter. Your lives mattered. Stay safe, look out for one another, and never take a single moment for granted. Until next time.